Every month, weird stuff happens in the world of gaming, and every month, gameranx is right there to chronicle it. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the weird gaming stories of May 2022. Starting off at number 10, there is a new Oculus Quest 2 add-on. It is a breathing apparatus to allow for the simulation of various things. Firstly, it allows you to simulate that you are in fact a villain from the Metal Gear Solid series. No, it actually simulates breathing inputs, so you can do things in the virtual world like blow up balloons, and smoke can affect the amount of air that you can breathe in, quote-unquote simulating suffocation, which is, I don't know if that's something that appeals to me that much. I don't like the idea of knowing what it's like to suffocate, but you know, I guess blowing out candles on a birthday cake might be great, depending on what context it's in. Like, maybe ninjas all bust through the windows the moment after you do it. Like, oh, but it's my birthday! I don't know, it's overall a weird add-on. Looks weird, does weird things. I don't know if it's gonna catch on. I don't know if this is gonna be a thing that a lot of games incorporate a huge amount from, because, I don't know, it seems not as cool as controllers that you hold with triggers on them, which work like guns in the virtual world, for instance. Also, the whole virtual suffocation. Not sure if I'm there for that. At number 9, a Call of Duty Warzone glitch has made an appearance in the form of putting a helicopter in King Kong's crotch, which is, a combination of words that I never thought I would say. But anyway, there is a glitch in which you can get into King Kong's blind spot in the new Call of Duty Warzone Operation Monarch event, which sees King Kong and Godzilla show up at Caldera. But what you do, and it's not necessarily an easy thing to do, but you fly a helicopter into King Kong's crotch, and you stay there. And as you're in his blind spot, you just endlessly earn XP. So the longer you can keep yourself in King Kong's crotch without coming up for air, the more XP you can get. Although, is it the kind of experience that you really want? Do you really want to be able to say, I was between King Kong's legs for a long period of time, getting this experience? I personally would not say it. I'd probably do it. It's just flying a helicopter between his legs, but still. At number 8, people found out that apparently there is nothing in the world, including a bunch of heads, 23 of them specifically, that can stop a bullet in Halo Infinite. So 23 people volunteered for a little experiment that YouTuber Sakana Yalangang decided to put together. So 23 people stood in a perfect line, and Sakana Yalangang fired a headshot through all of them. And it sounds like a damn jackpot on a slot machine or something. It's actually really cool to watch. Just the death animations, the physics sort of sprawling them out in slightly different ways, the overall sound and sort of tactileness of the feat itself. There's just something mesmerizing about it. I've watched the video many times at this point. Seriously, listen to the sound. It's so great. There's something just incredibly satisfying about that sequence of kill sounds. Like, you never get that in a normal game mode where everybody's competing. So even on that front, it's really cool. I always like weird stuff people come up with in video games, and this is just like one of the best examples of it. Well done. At number 7, despite the fact that NFT sales have declined 92%, there are still people that are at it. For instance, there was a crypto company that, claimed to be preserving games, abandonware specifically, on the blockchain so that it would never, ever go away. But the minute that the people who actually owned the games, because it wasn't them, the minute those people were like, hey, what's up with this? They took it all down and just ceased with the project completely. Probably makes sense to do, given that only 8% of people who were interested in NFTs a year ago are still interested in them. But Square Enix hasn't gotten the hint. Square Enix sold Thief, Deus Ex, Tomb Raider, some of the biggest gaming franchises in history. Like, Tomb Raider is kind of what sold the original PlayStation. because they made a $300 million to get into NFT games and have a commitment to be an industry leader in blockchain gaming. Like when you hear about people investing, not even in crypto, but just investing at the high point because there's so much buzz about a stock or a cryptocurrency or an NFT or whatever, and then the value just plummets, there's always a certain amount of people who are holding on to this dead stock or crypto or whatever, saying, it'll come back, and it doesn't. It's looking like Square Enix is that. And number 6, the design for Sonic the Hedgehog that was going to be in the movie that everyone hated so much that they spent an extra, I think 3/4 of a year it was, on making Sonic not look like a disaster. That Sonic, the bad one, the ugly one, made a cameo in the new Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers film, and everyone loved it. Part of the reason is it sort of acknowledges that that version of Sonic was a mistake and uses it to make several jokes at the idea's expense. You see, Ugly Sonic was basically an actor that didn't make it, and that's kind of a big thing, not necessarily to the story, but it runs adjacent to the story of the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers film. It's tough to explain because it involves explaining why there's a mishmash of different animation styles in the movie. It's weird. It's a funny movie, definitely good satire on nostalgia. But yeah, it's strange that this actually happened, A, and B was good. I guess a movie made by The Lonely Island is bound to be using Ugly Sonic to better effect than the actual video game movie people. And number 5, EA. Well, EA isn't looking great. 2 things to talk about with EA. First, they lost FIFA, so now they're just going to be EA Sports FC, which is obviously not a particularly catchy name. But the game isn't going to actually be different because EA still retains deals with pretty much every team. I can't imagine, other than having a dumb name now, that people will even really notice the difference. But this happens in the midst of EA smelling the money, with Sony and Microsoft buying up a ton of companies to become exclusives on their consoles. You see, EA noticed that Activision Blizzard was purchased for an astounding amount of money and immediately started trying to find people to buy them. Apparently Comcast NBC or NBC Comcast Universal, whatever they are now, was gonna buy them, but then they couldn't agree on pricing. I'm guessing EA thinks that they're worth more than they are. I don't know. They don't have FIFA anymore, and well, the game itself probably isn't going to be any different. I have to imagine that in a business meeting that just doesn't look good, but you know. At number 4, there is a Dead by Daylight dating sim coming out. Yeah, I don't think anyone was asking for such a thing. Dead by Daylight, of course, the long-running asymmetrical multiplayer game in which lots of different killers face off against each other. But I never, think, long-running asymmetrical multiplayer game. Too bad that's not a dating sim. The game is called Hooked on You, and it features the Huntress, the Spirit, the Trapper, and the Wraith. They will be inhabiting an island called Murderer's Island, and I guess looking for love. I am genuinely flabbergasted by this. It's such an unlikely sounding project that I almost believe that the developers, known as PsyOp, previously most well known for creating what is essentially an ad, the Colonel Sanders finger-licking good dating simulator. I feel like they just came to Behavior Interactive, and Behavior Interactive said, yeah, you know what? Do that. I just want to see what that is. What on earth do you come up with for this? I have to imagine it was just morbid curiosity on the part of Behavior Interactive that this is actually a thing that exists. And number 3, we found out that people are not only still wanting to rent PlayStation 2 games, but that GameFly is still renting them to people, and it's still a popular business. Now, that's not to say the selection is incredible. I mean, it includes The Incredibles. Then there's also Jack 3 and Max Payne 2, and then a bunch of games that I would not rent. And by a bunch, I mean 7. Honestly, the fact that this is still viable as a business is kind of shocking, but when you think about it, there's bound to be enough people who still have PlayStation 2s to support a small game library like this, even though I can't for the life of me imagine renting NHL 2002, whatever floats your boat. And number 2, Microsoft filed a patent application for giving people the ability to access digital games based on owning the disc version of the game. Now, it seems weird you would need a patent for that. I would think that would just be a feature they would put into their thing and tout heavily, because obviously, as Microsoft said, games represent a significant financial investment for people, and just not being able to play a game once they move over to systems that have no optical drive. They called that situation, and this is comical, they called it undesirable for multiple reasons. I think the main one being that it's a significant financial investment, and if you buy a bunch of games and then they're useless, that sucks. You're out a bunch of money. It's kind of full circle, that's why it's weird. If you remember when the Xbox One was announced, they were basically doing the inverse of this and locking physical copies of games to the owner of a console so you couldn't share or resell a game. So I guess we'll see how this plays out. And finally, at number 1, there is one Assassin's Creed player out there who has at least verifiably beaten all 12 mainline Assassin's Creed games without taking any damage at all. A streamer by the name of Bahadori started with the original Assassin's Creed and worked all the way through Valhalla, beating all level objectives without any reloads, restarts, or glitches. You can watch the entire thing if you would like, although I can't imagine watching all of those games just to make sure that he 100% actually did this, and apparently he practiced these games for hundreds of hours ahead of time. I mean, it's an accomplishment, but it's not one that anyone was clamoring for. Congratulations, Bahadori, I guess. You've played too much Assassin's Creed. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me at Twitter @FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.